Good morning, everyone. I am here with Claudia De Pasquale, and she is an amazing career transformation coach. And she is working with highly qualified professionals who are struggling with achieving real fulfillment in their careers and supporting them as they step into their authentic selves. She helps them realize their full potential, access their hidden powers, and create an impact in the world while doing work which absolutely fulfills them. So I want to welcome and thank Claudia for joining me today. Hi.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for having me today. It's a great pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. So, Claudia, I'd love for you to tell me some more about how you got started in supporting folks really finding their true passion in their career and their work.
So actually my business has come out from my own experience, my own struggle I was going through in my previous career, as I call it sometimes, my previous life I had. And actually I'm an ex private banker or wealth management professional, as you call it. And I've been in my first career for more than 17 years.
Mm.
And the reason why I decided to completely change direction was because I personally went through a burnout.
Mm.
I went through a burnout, which took me 2 years of my life to recover from. And after that, I was seeing some coaches and I started loving the results I was getting out from coaching. And I thought, I want to get to know how you can support people this way. I was just fascinated by how coaching was helping myself to get out of the troubles which I was going through and I went through in my career. And through this support and help, I was able to actually set up personally my own new career, start a business, and completely change directions.
Wow, that's wonderful. So it really just was sparked by inspiration. And I love that. And I think it's true for a lot of us who are in the, coaching field. We don't just arrive here usually. There's this whole transformation that we experience in ourselves because I feel like that's what makes us better at what we do because we've been where our clients are and we can relate so well to the struggles that they may be experiencing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you. So I'd love to ask you, tell me what using your intuition is like for you. Is it a feeling that you experience, or is it maybe a couple of words that just sort of pop into your mind? Tell me about how you have experienced your intuition.
So basically, I would call it the relationship with my intuition has been one which I started cultivating after my burnout, because before I was mainly disconnected from it. I just realized afterwards that I wasn't at all connected with my intuition. And actually the relationship I was able to build with my intuition is one of discovery. I found out how useful it is to connect with one's intuition, and how much compassion there can also be towards oneself if we connect with our intuition. And at the same time, I also found out how useful it can be also while you're at service for others. How useful and powerful it is if you learn to connect with your intuition.
Right.
So it has been actually a mainly positive discovery I
Oh,
went through.
that's
And I'm
good.
still into the process of,
Mm,
finding out how to be more quickly connected with my
mm,
intuition, and how to cultivate what I call the relationship with it. So
right.
that's my experience, basically. I
Okay.
found out that I have a very strong intuition which wanted to kind of manifest itself. I just didn't allow it to
Mm,
be an active part in my life, in my
mm,
previous career and
right.
professional life, right?
When you were in your previous career, and this is maybe a little bit before the actual burnout happened,
Mhm.
did you find that you were experiencing any sort of physical symptoms, or was there a period when you were still in your previous career where your intuition was trying to send you some signals, but maybe then because you didn't have that relationship, um, some other symptom was coming up? Did you have anything that sort of felt
Yes,
like that, or?
I think I had, yes. And I can totally relate to what you're describing, Christy, because
Mm-hmm.
um, I loved my job.
Mm,
And it was a very interesting job, and I learned so much during these 17 years. And I also had some really great times and years, and lots of successes and satisfactions, and meeting wonderful people. But at the same time, what I found out for me in the moment, I allowed intuition to talk to me and to express itself,
mm.
was that I simply was in the wrong environment for myself.
Ah,
And actually, in response to your question, my body was
mm-hmm.
constantly trying to communicate with me. And
Ah,
that's how I first started to get in touch with this intuition, that actually my whole body was communicating to me by
mm,
cringing somewhere or hurting in another part. And what I used to do at the time was just cutting that out through
yes,
my head,
yes.
over how can you say, kind of overhaul everything by
Mm-hmm.
reasoning and logics, and it doesn't make sense, and all the stuff our inner voice tells us sometimes, when it's up
Mm-hmm.
here, it's like if it was stuck
Yeah.
up there, and totally ignoring my
Mm.
body's signal and my body's shout out for help, or you give me a
Right.
break, or whatever it was saying at the time. And that's also the reason which drove me into my burnout, because my
Mm,
body cracked at a certain point
mm,
while my head was thinking and undergoing the illusion that we can still resist it. We
mm.
couldn't as a system, the Claudia
Right.
couldn't. So that's my experience
Mm,
with finding out that actually intuition also starts manifesting and comes out through your body, to
yes.
me. So,
Yes, yes. I'm shaking my head, nodding my. I was like, yeah, because I experienced, a very similar occurrence. When I was younger and in my teenage years, my body was just fighting to send me these signals, and like you said, my head was just like, no, 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 you're tired, you're sore from working out, oh, it's okay, oh, oh, it's just a little cold, or
yeah.
all the various signals that our bodies send to us. And yeah, so I completely can relate to that experience for sure. So as you developed your relationship with your intuition, how do you feel that has played a role in now making business decisions, and either for your own business but also in support of your clients? How have you
Mhm.
incorporated that into
Basically,
this?
Christy, what I am still learning to do, and I learned to do
Mm,
when I started my business, is to really connect to my intuition and give it space to
mm,
show up and communicate to me,
mm-hmm,
and start a sort of collaboration between my
mm.
intuition,
I love
my
that.
head, my guts, and my heart,
Mm-hmm.
in order to achieve the best results when it's
Mm-hmm.
concerning taking decisions, taking somebody on board in the business, or working with
Right.
a client, or deciding whether we move the office or not. All stuff which the head can decide that
Mm-hmm.
it might be the right thing to do, but in the moment I started making space to the intuition and started listening and paying attention to it much more than before,
Mm-hmm.
everything got much easier,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, I
And
love
it started like to be as in a flow.
that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can also I can also recall the reason why before I wasn't capable of doing this, and
Mm.
it merely because of fear. I didn't trust it, I didn't know it,
Yeah.
and trusting my head felt to me much more secure, much more reliable than
Mm-hmm.
trusting perhaps, you know, a crunchy stomach, or
Yeah.
arm pain is something which was coming up, or a constant cough, for
Mm.
example. So it was much safer to
Right.
rely on my
Well,
head.
and in your mind, you're like, well, I have all of these years of experience. I have this education. I have these relationships. It has to count for something. I have to be able to rely on that to make my decisions.
Yeah.
And yeah,
A
that's
massive difference is now.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, what can you recall a moment or a time when that is most memorable for you when you followed that gut instinct in your business, and it resulted in maybe even a surprising outcome, or um, it just happened to be right on. Can you
Yeah.
recall one of those moments?
There are several moments I could
Mm.
talk about, and but one which is quite close to me, which I would like to share with you, is
Mm.
when we start setting up a business at the beginning. We kind of are very keen on taking like mostly everybody on board, right?
Yes.
Instead of waiting for the right clients, we're just keen on, oh my God, it has to work.
Right.
So what I experienced was that in the moment I had my discovery calls with a certain type of people, certain clients, I
Mm-hmm.
had my intuition, or my body, how I call it, talking to me
Mm.
quite strongly, like saying, an inner voice was going, that's nothing for you. You can't work with this person. It's not going to work out.
Mm.
And at the beginning, I was really tempted to just accept these people and start working with them, because perhaps on the other side, they would have wished to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a wise decision to not go into this, I need to take them on board,
Mm.
because my head tells me, you have to, you need clients, come on, there is
Right.
somebody who wants to work with you, take them on. Doesn't matter if it doesn't feel good.
Mm.
It does matter a lot.
Mm.
In the moment I kind of gave space to this to come up,
Mm-hmm.
the, even the type of people I was talking to completely changed direction and became really people with whom I immediately connected. And
Mm.
that's the beauty of what I was mentioning before. It's like there is a lot of connection and even compassion in being connected to our intuition, because
Mm-hmm.
it just shows you that there is an easy way
Mm-hmm.
to make things flow, get into the flow,
Mm-hmm.
if we just allow it and learn what people, for example, can do with you. They can learn how to
Mm-hmm.
connect with their intuition. It's totally doable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make it a habit. You can, as often as you want, you can kind of train and try to connect to it. And the more you do it, the easier this flow comes up and helps you to get to results, and much quicker
Yeah.
than if you didn't connect to your
Right.
intuition.
And you're just going with your head.
Exactly. And then
Oh,
when you go with your head out of a moment, at a certain moment, you just hit the wall, and then perhaps you might be asking yourself, oh, what happened now? And sometimes it can be too late, like it was in the case of my burnout. And I don't wish this to happen to anybody, but now I know that it was because I was disconnected from my intuition.
Yeah.
So this is one major advantage I see, and one major experience I went through, that it really helped me to understand with whom I can work so that it becomes fulfilling work, happy work, where I can be myself and where the client can be him or herself, and not a struggle.
Yes. And you know what? I can completely relate, as entrepreneurs, in the beginning, you're just like, yes, I want to work with everyone. And it's sort of that quantity versus quality type of decision making. And I couldn't agree with you more. Really taking that moment, taking a breath, and it doesn't have to last a long time. It's not that. It's just like a matter of checking in with your body and how do I feel in this moment, and exactly what you said, because that's how I experience it too, is your solar plexus might feel like it's clenching and really tight and do I feel that way, or do I feel open? Do I feel like I can take a full deep breath? And I think those are excellent ways to begin to connect with your intuition. So it sounds like that's really led to creating successful relationships with new clients. So how are you incorporating intuition now? Are you still using that in connecting to new clients, or how has your intuition evolved?
Oh yes,
Since the
I would
beginning?
definitely say so. Yes, and it will be evolving even more, I hope. Because as I said, I totally believe you can grow within connecting to your intuition. It can be learned, it can be developed, it can be taught, it can be. And so it's actually an ongoing situation. And what I do, I support also my clients during a career transformation process to give space to this, to allow it to come up, to allow it to express. Because the phase which is going to come, where fear is going to jump in, is much more easy to face if you give it some space for other signals than the one from the head.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
It's part of some type of work I do with my clients as well. Yes. But I guess in a different way than how you approach it.
It's interesting is that it's similar in the sense that we desire the same things for our clients. We want them to be fully embodying their intuitive self, their fully aware self. Some people might call it higher self or conscious self, but really just supporting them and being very aware. How does your body feel? Where are you in the decision-making process? Just really supporting them as they learn that, well, one, it's even a possibility, right? Because some people don't even believe that they have the intuition. So we get to support them in those beginning steps as well. So if you could give one piece of advice about using intuition in business, what do you feel would be like your top piece of advice?
I guess at this stage, in regards to where I find myself, it's to really try to connect as much as possible with your intuition. Try to as I mentioned before, to make space for it to show up. Yeah. And not to over-rush decisions of any kind.
I love that. Yes.
What I would really strongly suggest. Because there is always enough time to make the right decision. And sometimes the time we think is not there exactly leads us into the wrong decision. And so this is something which I would really ponder to consider a lot.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine.
Yeah. So Claudia, tell me, how can folks get in touch with you if they're looking to really transform and transition their career? What's the best way folks can reach you?
Well, the best way is my website, which is concretemotion.com. Or you can drop me an email at claudia@concretemotion.com. And then we can jump on a call and try to see how we can help you to be more fulfilled in your next career.
Wonderful.
Or in socials as well.
Yeah.
On Facebook, on the Concrete Motion, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well.
Oh, right.
My name is Claudia De Pasquale. That's where people can get in touch with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you, Christy. Thanks.
All right.
It was a real pleasure to talk to you. Thanks.
Mine as well. Thank you.